Welcome to the series Microsoft Access for Historians. In this next video, we talk about queries to update things. It's called update queries. And they're extremely useful. And from now on, we're going to start using the different queries to modify the data in different ways. So this is the first one that can be used for many different things. But let me show you how it works. So to create, we just do it exactly the same way, query design, and then we're going to use people that we created in the last exercise, which is a very simple database, a very simple table, and then just let's see it. So this is the table. So if we go back to view, you see that here we've always been selecting select, but there's different things to do, and we're going to use update. And update has what it does is just update the changes, modifies the value in the fields for selected cases and columns. So a very common use could be just if you want to add new information into the table for all the records. So imagine that with this little table, actually what we're transcribing some information from the archive, and me and a friend of mine were doing the same, and we want to then collect information, but we always want to be sure of who actually typed each thing. So let me save this for a second. Well, let me just eliminate this and we'll see. So imagine that we need to have that information in, so we have this, and then the data entry person, and that should be a short text. So imagine that what happens is that I want to just write my name in all of them. So when me and my other friend, we put our data together, all these records, it is clear that I put them in. So how can I do that? I can just write Barb in all of them, but that's going to be time consuming if I do not only have 9 records. So what we can do is to use update query to do that. So let me show you again. Query design, and then same as before, we just put all our stuff in, and then see that it's completely empty. So what I can do just now for this case is just use an update. So I click here, and then see that now it goes to update 2. So what I want to do is just change something in the field data entry person and just fill it with something. So I'm just going to eliminate that. And what I wanted to say is just the text Barb. My friend will do the same with his or her table. And then we will be able to put our 2 tables together. And that's something that we will do in a later video. So what I do is just when in the field data entry person people, then just for all of the cases update it with Barb, and then that's the only thing that I do. And say that this is an important move. Access reminds you that if you do that, then you cannot undo it, so you have to be very sure. In this case, you need always to have a backup copy in case you mess everything up. In this case, we are not going to do it, but because that's not very important, but that you should always make a copy if you're going to do something that you're afraid that that can mess up things. So I'm going to go and say yes, and then apparently nothing happens. But let's check for a second. So I'm going to save this because we need to keep track of what we've done. So we save it as not query one, but adding data entry person Barb. That could be right. And then I click it, and then I go to my table people, and then see that now we have everything. So that's good. It worked. The problematic thing with these queries, and then you see that it's slightly different, is like you shouldn't, once you've done it, it stays here, but you shouldn't redo it because you could be creating a lot of problems. But now we've done it. Okay, there's not that many occasions in which we're gonna really need to have this type of updates, but there's another type of update that could come in handy. So let me show you something else. So this is I always start with a regular query. So we go people, and then we say sex, and then we view, And then suddenly we see that something's kind of weird. We have, so female, but some of the cases of female, we haven't written them properly. So, so if I do one of the totals that we did before, so yes, and I count them, then there's something wrong. This should be changed. So of course I could just go manually to the table and change them, but I could also use an update query to do that. Let me show you. So we go back to a regular select, and then we see, okay, how can we do that? Because now we have the 9 records, but we only want to change the value of this fem to say fully female. So what we should do first is just select them. So what we say is, okay, the criteria says that it has to only say fem, right? So it's just only 2 cases. And now what I want to happen. So I want now that these fields, instead of having fem, that it says fully female. And for that, I use also an update. And see that it changes again. And it says update to what? And then to what? Well, I want it to say female. Again, let me remind you that this is going to change everything. Imagine that I do not put the criteria and then I just wipe out the whole field. So you have to be really, really sure. And for doing that, that's very useful always to, before, just remember, okay, I'm only selecting these 2 cases. So if that's the criteria that I use for selection, it's going to be fine. So go back with it. With my update, say whenever it says fem, I'm going to replace it by female. And then I run it. And then remember, we are going to update only 2 records because here we are going to update 2 rows. So it seems that it checks out. And then I say yes. And just I save it in case I need to go back and then see what's happened. I save it as fixing sex equals to sex fem. Could be like that. So see that I have it here. And then I go to people, and then I see that, the problem doesn't exist anymore. So if you remember, we had this query where we check that out, and then, we have only 4 females and 5 males. So it seems that it's worked out. So we can use update to update a whole column, but also we can do it to just wipe out and clean or change. I could substitute the value of something to whatever I want it to be. It could be a number, it could be a text, it could be just cleaning it up because there's something inside. But we'll have to use the criteria really, really carefully so as to not mess up things. What would happen if I tried to do this? So see that it will tell me, you're going to modify data in your table. And at this point, I don't know what's going to do because I had some criteria, now I've changed things. So we should never try to do update query once we've done it already, unless we're trying to do something else. But for now, you just keep them there so you know that what you've been doing. In this case, it should be very nice to say, okay, let's just give it a command. So update queries to 1, so we know why we have these queries lying around. As you see, queries can start piling up. So we say update queries 02. So now at least they are ordered, and we know that this is the reason why I made them. Okay, so this is for now for query totals. For update queries.